Hey folks, back with ancient cosmology. Um, Trying to go back through to some stuff that I haven't shown in the videos. Let's see. Alright, so yeah, this might be an iteration of Hoppy. You know, Hoppy basically is the Nile. He's like a bearded guy with big boobs. So that could be that basically his boob is the Nile. Like this is the Nile right here. So that this would be his boob. Would be his beard. This would be his eye. So I I suspect that this is an iteration of him, just as the entire Nile might also be an iteration of him. So yeah, the entire Nile seems like it has a big boob that comes out, so that may also be related. And then even from the other side, it also has a big boob, but that boob is basically this part right here, the reverse boob. And then it ends up as this boob or moob. Alright, so this is from Plutarch. So it says, as they regard, he's talking about the Egyptians, as they regard the Nile as the effusion of Osiris, so they hold and believe the earth to be the body of Isis. Not all of it, but so much of it as the Nile covers. So this is the Nile Delta, so the Nile covers all of this. And so this may be an iteration, and maybe the one of the primary iterations of Isis, one of the primary avatars of Isis, with maybe like a feather on her head or something, and like boobs here. Yeah, that's my interpretation. I put an eye, like a little Eye of Horus type of deal over it. But yeah, it even seems to have like the nipples, although this nipple seems to be fading. But probably originally it really had like two pretty well delineated breasts with nipples. Yeah, so this is Hoppy again with the beard, the boob. There's city of Alexandria. I've been there. It was pretty wild. There's like almost nobody speaks English in Alexandria. I just showed up. I'm like, oh, I'll just show up there, try and get a hotel room. They don't even let foreigners in the hotels there. There's like one hotel there that is allowed to have foreigners in it. Okay. This is potentially Cinderella. Cinderella's face, Cinderella's foot, or Cinderella's sister's foot and shoe. This is kind of like Pepe, it kind of looks like his pants are down around his ankles. He's like, Pepe likes to pee with his pants down. I mean, it doesn't really look like Pepe, but it's doing the Pepe thing. All right, and then I think this is Crete. Yeah, that's Crete. There's either Cinderella, or I think this might be one of Cinderella's sisters, but who knows? It's basically Thrace, but I think it's related somehow to the tradition. This is her foot and her dress and her face and her boobs. This kind of looks like Ramses II, and this is part of it's basically the other side of the strait here. Bosphorus Strait, or whatever you call it. Yeah, so it's part of that peninsula of Asia or whatever. So I don't know if this was carved to look like Ramses II or some other pharaoh, or it just happens to look like this, or what. And this seems to be, I guess, the mother of the stepmother in the Cinderella story that this would be. And so yeah, this would be connected to see, I was thinking this was the Prince Charming, but now I'm suspecting it's actually the stepmother. This may be also Cinderella, or one of the stepsisters with the foot sticking out, and maybe this is a foot sticking out, and then this would be her face. So yeah, like this, if that's Cinderella, or if this would be one of the stepsisters, and then this would be the stepmother, and she's, because in the original, or in the Brothers Grimm version, the Aschenputtel, no one shall no one shall be my, okay, so I guess the prince says, no one shall be my wife but she whose foot this golden slipper fits. So that this would be the golden slipper. Then were the two sisters glad, for they had pretty feet. So this would be one of the two sisters with the pretty feet. The eldest, so this would be the eldest. This would be her face, boobs, dress, leg, foot, shoe. Went with the shoe into her room. So her room, I suspect, would be the Caspian Sea altogether, and wanted to try it on. And her mother stood by. So her mother, that if this is her mother's face, with the hair, forehead, nose, mouth, chin, that would explain why it's not bearded, because maybe if it was the prince, he might have a beard or something, but there's not necessarily a beard there. But she could not get her big toe into it, and the shoe was too small for her. Then her mother gave her a knife and said, cut the toe off. When thou art queen, thou wilt have no more need to go on foot. The maiden cut the toe off, forced the foot into the shoe, swallowed the pain, and went out to the king's son. Then he took her on his horse and as his bride, and rode away with her. They were, however, obliged to pass the grave, and there on the hazel tree sat the two pigeons and cried, turn and peep, there's blood within the shoe. The shoe, it is too small for her, the true bride waits for you. So that's actually the whole chorus of the entire story. It keeps coming back to that. That's like the main thing. That's the main heart of the whole Cinderella story, is her sisters cutting their feet. So I think the sisters are as important to the story as